Welcome back. It has been a while. Welcome back to the Holy Bananas podcast with your host, Terry MacDonald, producer Brock in the chair. In the chair across from me, we have a very special guest with us today. He is my father. He is the associate pastor at the Lighthouse Church. He has served in many different ministry roles, and I'm very excited to interview him and that you guys can follow along, learn a little bit more about my dad. So, Dad, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay, well, yeah, like Zechariah said, I am the associate pastor here at Lighthouse Church in Port Alberni. We've been at this church now for about 25 years. I think we came into the church in 1999, about May. Got the Holy Ghost almost right away. Third service at church, I got the Holy Ghost. Wife is second service ever. I got the Holy Ghost. And been in ministry now, licensed minister for about 20 years. Been involved in various aspects of ministry at the church, at a local level, outreach director, follow-up director, bus ministry for a number of years, driving bus around, picking people up all over town. Worked in Sunday school, children's ministry, youth group. I've done almost everything in the church at a local level. District level, I've been children's ministry secretary for a while, and then children's ministry director for a while after that. Currently, right now, I'm just going to church here.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Wonder if you could just say a little bit about like how you guys started coming, how you and Mom started coming to church, or I know you kind of touched on it a little bit of like when, but what was that timeline like a little bit more?
Yeah, we were living in Courtenay at the time, and then we would come into town every so often and met the Halls. And the Halls were teaching my parents a Bible study at the time. And so we started asking them some questions, and they started answering the questions. And then they said, why don't you just go to church one time? So we decided one morning, called the church Saturday night and got the times for church in the morning, Sunday morning. And we got up Sunday morning and went to church. And it's interesting because most people, when they come into a Pentecostal church for the first time, kind of think, what in the world is really going on here? What in the world is actually happening?
Yeah.
But it was different because for me, it seemed normal. This seemed normal. I don't really know why it was like that, but it didn't seem weird. It didn't seem strange, even though people were running around and everything in the church. And I think someone got the Holy Ghost that service. I think we were there. It didn't seem weird though.
Yeah.
It just seemed like this was more normal. And we came under Pastor Art Perry. And then after about being in Courtenay for about, I think we were only there for about 6 months to a year. And then we moved to Port Alberni and then started going to this church here. It wasn't here, it was at the old church, but we moved to this new church here.
Yeah.
To the property.
Yeah. A lot of things has happened since then. Definitely. Even at the church in Courtenay, having different leadership, and even now at our church having different leadership. So you've definitely gone through some different pastors.
Yeah, this is number 3.
Yeah.
Pastor.
So so another thing I want to talk about is your role at the district level. So you touched again a little bit on being Sunday school secretary, and then you moved on to Sunday school director. Tell me a little bit about like what that was like and what that job was like. First of all, did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed doing the Sunday school with the kids at the camp meeting, and just kind of being involved. Giving back to camp is one thing I thought about. Giving back to the church in some way. you can go to church camp and be blessed, or you can go to conferences and just be blessed. But it's different when you can go to one of these things and not just be blessed, but actually give back to the church in some way. So I did enjoy it. Enjoyed emailing all the pastors in the district and I get a email. I would get a conference call about once a month, Brother Cannon. That was kind of nice having those conference calls.
Yeah.
And then going to midwinter meetings with the down in St. Louis. They kind of was nice to get away and go down to St. Louis and actually have meet all the other children's ministry directors and
yeah,
get to know the evangelists, children's ministry evangelists. I did really enjoy it. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
I remember hearing a little bit of stuff of like some of the things that would happen in the children's tent of like either like just revival stuff of just a bunch of kids getting the Holy Ghost and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure when you're dealing with, Sunday school kids, there's a few funny things.
Oh yeah, there's always some of those joker kids that kind of do funny things. And
I remember hearing one story. I wonder if you could tell the story of it was brother. I can't remember whose son it was. It was somebody's son. They asked you about. You had like just made this big thing about like if you have any questions at all, any questions whatsoever, and it was I can't remember what pastor it was, but some pastor here, their son said like raise their hand, ask some funny question. Do you remember which one? They asked you something about you made this big thing about like if you have any questions about anything at all, and he like raised his hand. He said, "Where do skunks stink come from?"
Yes, there was a question like that. Yes, there was one time that question got asked by one of the kids. If you tell kids any question, they'll ask any question. Yeah. So I think I just referred him to his dad.
Yeah.
I thought I could just refer you to any question like that. You just refer back to the parents.
Yeah.
Ask your dad that question. Ask your mom that question.
Another thing, kind of the crux of what we're gonna get into for this episode. Oh, excuse me. Is if you know anything about our family, the one thing that is bound to happen is we'll try and go on a holiday, and there is never anything goes right. No. You talked about going to like midwinter meeting. I remember something going wrong right away with you guys trying to go to midwinter meeting. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Right away? Yeah.
We got plenty of other stories, but like you already talked on that, so we'll start with that one.
Yeah, going to midwinter meeting, we had everything planned, ready to go. It happens in January, so it's not the greatest of time to travel, but getting ready to leave, and we're packed up. We got all our stuff in the car. We're driving down the road to leave our house, and we get a phone call. The ferries are canceled. We can't get off the island.
And you guys were flying out of Vancouver?
We're flying out of Vancouver, and we still have a ferry to get on. So we come back home, and we're frantically trying to find a flight. We find a flight.
Sorry, I got to interrupt. You didn't come home. I got to let everybody know this. You guys didn't come home frantically trying to find a flight. You came home, you're like, I guess we're not going. And I was like, whoa, guys, let me be the savior here of your trip. Why don't you guys try and fly out of like Comox or try and fly out of Nanaimo? And so that's how we got here.
So we were flying. So we thought, well, so we looked at Comox. We found a flight in no flights to Nanaimo at that time. We found a flight in Comox. We called down. They said there's 2 tickets left, and we said, can you hold them? We'll buy them. They said we don't hold tickets. It's a first come first serve. So, meanwhile, we've got the car, and we're driving to Courtney as fast as we possibly can. Mind you, it's stormy out, it's rainy out, it's windy out. It's not a good time to travel at all.
It was bad enough to have to cancel the ferries.
That's how they cancel the ferries. Is so bad. The weather was so bad. So we get down to Courtney, and we finally got yes. We got told yes. You have 2 flights. Meanwhile, we get this little plane. So little. I could carry 10 people, and I was sitting kind of right behind the pilot. You can see the pilot. and I guess he was training somebody because he had a lady next to him, and he was saying, I know there's no curtain, there's no wall between us. It's just a pilot, and he's talking to this other co-pilot about what to do. We pull up on this, and you watch these, and he's training her how to fly our plane in a storm. And he did say it's going to be a bit bumpy because it is quite windy, and we're going over top of water.
Yeah.
And then we get to the airport in Vancouver, and since we're such a small plane, that has sent us to the old airport, which has no heat in the middle of winter, no heat, and we're stuck in there because and then my suitcase broke. The handle broke on my suitcase as I'm walking through this. I guess it was so cold or something. I don't know. Then we had to wait in this freezing cold airport with no heat, waiting for a bus to pick us up to take us to the big airport. I mean, it was bigger, no bigger than, it was just a little room. There was no heat. It was the old airport, and then we got into a regular flight and flew and everything. And
oh yeah,
yeah.
Remember when we were flying? You said about how like the flight. The pilot was training another pilot. That's not very reassuring. Remember when we were flying back from Toronto on a family holiday, and we're flying over the Canadian Rockies, and all of a sudden the pilot comes on and he's like, just a reminder what to do in case of an emergency landing. And you look outside and we're in the Rocky Mountains, flying over the Rocky Mountains of Alberta. And we're like, why would you make that announcement now? We're not going to need to know what to do in an emergency landing.
Hopefully not. No, not here. Not here. If we crash here, we're
not going to have to worry about it.
There's no place to do an emergency landing in the middle of I remember that. Yeah, everyone in the whole plane
just kind of was like,
looking around, looking at everybody was looking at each other because no one knew what to do.
And it didn't seem like it was that rough of a flight up until that point, and and then all of a sudden you look outside and you're flying over not even like that much higher than some of the mountains, and they're just in case we have to do an emergency landing, just a reminder of what the procedure is.
Yeah.
Please don't remind me here what it is.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, we always have problems flying and problems traveling, whether it's driving and
or flying,
really anything.
Yeah.
We have kind of organized a couple of stories that we're going to tell. Two of them I don't remember because one I was too young and one I was not there for. But my dad has the scoop on both stories, and then one we're going to kind of share our experience together for one.
Yeah.
Mess. This is the only way I could describe it. But the first story we're going to start with is Nevada.
Yeah,
was it Battle Mountain, Nevada?
We were at the general conference down in Salt Lake City, and then we were driving back from Salt Lake City, and we started having to hear a noise on our engine at a city called Battle Mountain, which is the armpit. But the sign says as you drive into Battle Mountain off the highway, has a great big sign that says, "Welcome to Battle Mountain, the armpit of America." That's their slogan. That's their slogan. And if you pulled into there to find out that the engine was blowing in the car we were driving.
Weren't there T-shirts that said "My car broke down at Battle Mountain"?
There were T-shirts that said "My car broke down at Battle Mountain." So
which I'm assuming you guys did not think was very funny at the time.
At the time, we drove to the only mechanic shop in town because it was a very small town, and he said it would be about $4,000 for an engine. It would take 7 days to get there, and about 5 days to put it in. And I thought, I don't have the funds to pay the $4,000 American,
nor
waiting 12 days,
yeah,
to have it put in. So I said, I don't know, I can't afford it. So we went and got a hotel room at a place, and I said, I don't know how long I went inside. I said, "You have a room to rent?" He goes, "Yeah, I got rooms." And I said, "I'm not sure how long I'm going to be here for. I don't know." And he said, "Well, you want it for the whole night or just a couple hours?" I said, well, I want it for the whole night. I said, I'm not sure how many days I'm going to be here. And then to find out that it's a by-hour motel.
Of course it was.
So
coming back from General Conference, of course it's a by-hour motel.
So I'm stuck there with my wife and 3 kids, and then I'm asking around, is there any rental cars or places in town? And no rental car places in town. Any buses come to town? No, they all bypass us. Well, how am I going to get out of town? So finally, a lady who was there saw us, talked to us, and she said she could drive me back to Elko, and I could get a car in Elko, Montana, Nevada, in eastern Nevada. If you've ever never been to eastern Nevada, there's nothing there. There is nothing there. I mean, there is nothing there. I don't know why we were there, but I guess we were there driving back. But there's nothing in eastern Nevada at all. So anyway, she comes pick me up. Next day, I take just my credit card because I didn't want to take all my whole wallet with me, and my cell phone had gone missing in Salt Lake City. Either it got stolen or thrown away, or I don't even know what happened to it. Still to this day, I don't know what happened to my cell phone. So I had no cell phone either. So we're back in the car driving back to Elko with this lady. She comes picks me up, and she's got a guy in the back seat with her, and he's covered in tattoos. And anyways, she stops to get gas, and he gets out of the car, the back seat behind me, and I said, he goes, Tammy's a really nice lady. That was the lady who drove us. I said, yeah, she is very nice for doing this. And he says, you're from Canada? I said, yeah, I'm from Canada. And I said, how do you know Tammy? And he goes, well, I just got out of prison with her son, and I'm trying to get back to Vegas. So Tammy gets back in the car. We make our way back about an hour's drive to Elko. And the whole way we're driving, Tammy is consistently telling me over and over again how much she hates the cops, how much she hates law enforcement, how much she hates everything to do with that. And at the time I worked for probation, so I didn't want to tell her what I did for work, so I didn't. And then we're driving in the middle of the desert, and there's nothing for miles. And she pointed this out, that there's nothing around here for miles and miles. There is nothing out here, she said, for miles and miles and miles. And there was nothing for miles. I could see on both sides of the road. So I remained unbuckled the whole time, because I thought if I have to jump out, I'll run the miles and miles if I need to. So we finally get to Elko, and she drops me off at the airport, and I get a car. They get me a brand new Cadillac. She comes back a little while later. She said, "You get a car." I said, "I got a car. Well, I'm going to head back to Battle Mountain. Thanks so much, for your help." And she goes, "Well, there's one little problem." She says, "My car is not running properly. You have to follow me." So I said, okay. So I'm driving down behind her on the highway, going through the desert, and all of a sudden she pulls on a dirt road. And I'm thinking, leave her. Leave her. Just leave her. Keep driving. Don't look. Just leave her. Get back to Battle Mountain, pick up your family, and get out of here.
Yeah.
Leave her. But I thought, no, I should check and see what's going on. So I drove down the road, and she pulled off the dirt road a little ways down. I didn't pull off the road. I stayed on the road. And I positioned my car in a turnaround spot facing the way that if anything went down, I could just get back onto the highway. And she gets out of the vehicle, and she says, "Well, my car's dead." Very, very nonchalant about it. Wasn't worried about leaving her car was dead.
Well, I mean, I guess it happens near Battle Mountain so often. There's T-shirts about it.
Yeah,
it just happened to you. It happened to her. It just seemed like a normal. It's a normal Saturday for her.
Yeah, she's here. Car's dead. Car's dead. I mean, you drove down this dirt road a while. But you had to. You drove down the dirt roadaways. You didn't get warning on the highway that it was going to die. You just turned off the road, drove down the dirt roadway. They died. Anyways, I said, okay. I said, well, she said, I need to ride back to Battle Mountain. I said, okay. So she gets back in the car, drove her back to Battle Mountain, and
was the guy still with her?
Yeah, the guy was still with her. Yeah. He was with her the whole time. He was still there. Yeah. He got in the car with us, and we drove him back. And then we got back to Battle Mountain, and she goes, and we said, well, how far is the next town? She said, well, an hour to Wickamacka. I thought, well, if I get to Wickamacka, or even to Reno, I can sell the car. I can sell the car there. Someone will buy it with a blown engine. And so we're driving on the. So I was in our old car. Kelly was driving the rental car, and we're going on the highway. We leave Battle Mountain, and we're heading towards Wickamacka and Reno, and all of a sudden the engine blew right up. Blew right up. I mean, black smoke, as black could be, coming out of my engine. And I pulled over, and this guy behind me pulled over, and he goes, "You overheat or something?" I'm thinking, buddy, look at my. I'm thinking, look at the smoke coming out of my engine. If I overheated that bad. I said, no. I said, it's not overheated. The engine's blowing. And so I thought, if I get a tow truck from here, I'm going to be paying so much money. So I thought, well, the only thing I can do is take the plates off it, pop off any identification that I can find on the car, took off any identifying markers on the car, took it all apart, and left it on the side of the highway, went to Wickamacka, and I got a hold of Tammy.
We took a picture of it, too.
Yeah, took a picture of it on the side of the highway with the sun setting behind it.
Yeah. It's a very nice picture.
It looks great. It's a nice picture of the desert, the mountains, and the sun setting behind it. And I sent a picture to Tammy. I said to call to Tammy and said, the car is on the side of the highway between Wickamacka and Battle Mountain. You can have it if you want it. She goes, I'll get a tow truck. I said, okay, sounds good. And I left it there. So whether she ever picked it up or if it's still sitting there to this day. But I thought, if it can be left there, I don't want any identifiers. Because I'm leaving in the middle of nowhere.
I got to rewind on that story. Wasn't there a point where like a police officer pulled you over or something at some point, and you said, oh, I was just with Tammy, and they're like, oh, we know Tammy.
No, that was Mom who called, who was trying to find some kind of way of getting us back home.
Oh,
she got a hold of the sheriff, came and talked to her, and she said, "Oh, they know Tammy." They said, Tammy knew that. Tammy knew the sheriff too. She told me that numerous times she hated him. Yeah, I was coming back from.
One other kind of funny thing about that story that Mom tells from her side is while you were gone, she tried calling some minister.
There was a pastor in Reno.
I don't remember.
That was the closest church.
I don't remember why she called them. I guess to see if there was anything. I don't remember exactly.
Well, we didn't know what we were going to do. Like, we honestly had no idea. We didn't know what we were going to do to get back. This is the end of our trip.
Yeah,
we're supposed to be back home in a day, so our money was dwindling fast.
Yeah,
and we were going to go back with no car because we couldn't take the car across the border.
Yeah.
We couldn't even take the car. They didn't really want us to take the car out of the state. But we took it to Washington.
Yeah.
So she called the pastor in Reno, and he felt so bad. He says, well, when you get back home, you'll have your other car because it's our only vehicle. He said, oh, Sister Kelly. I mean, he was so depressed. He felt utterly terrible for us, and he invited us to church when we got to Reno. We didn't end up going to church, but we were going to go to church, and he said, we're going to be at someone's house tonight. We do a house service on this night. And I thought, well, I don't really feel comfortable going to someone's house I don't know.
Yeah.
And we've been traveling all day, and I just don't feel like going to somebody's house. I don't know who this person is from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Like if it's going to a church service,
You were fine with getting in the car with Tammy and the other person, but not going to somebody's house.
No.
Not another Apostolic's house.
So we stayed in Reno for the night, and we got to Reno. Yeah, we got to Reno.
Yeah. So that was the first time you went to Nevada.
Yeah.
The second time was a little bit different.
Yeah, we went to Vegas, and drove down to Vegas. Me, Brock, and Faith and Kelly, and which was fine. We had fun in Vegas, and then we left Vegas and we were driving towards California, and we're going to drive up through California back home. And I stopped in a little town again.
These little towns in Nevada are the death of us.
Well, it's actually California, just outside Death Valley. And just around Death Valley, I pulled over to this little town called Tehachapi. And got gas. And I get back in the car and I take off. And we drive for about, 2 hours or so. Drive for a few hours. And so I said, we should stop and get some lunch. I said, yeah, we should stop and get some lunch. I'm getting hungry. So we pulled over in Visalia.
Yeah.
And I stopped in Visalia for lunch. And I got out of the vehicle and going through the vehicle looking for my wallet. Can't find it anywhere. And Kelly said, what are you looking for? I said, looking for my wallet. She said, well, it's here somewhere. I said, it's got to be in the vehicle somewhere. Like, I paid for the gas. Looked through, and then all of a sudden it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I left the wallet on the roof of the van. And I thought, what am I going to do? So I let Kelly know. So we immediately jumped back in the vehicle, and I'm thinking, what are we going to do? And Kelly said, well, we should just drive for the border. I said, well, that's fine. I said, but I'm not going to make it through the border because I'm going to need gas along the way.
Yeah.
I said, and I don't have my wallet, so I don't have any money. I had all the money. I took my wallet. Kelly didn't bring her wallet. I don't think she did. I had all the money, credit cards, everything. I had everything. I thought, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I supposed to do here? So we called the convenience store, and they said, no one's turned a wallet in.
Oh, why would they?
Yeah. So I said to Kelly, we gotta drive back. Like, we have to drive back to Tehachapi. So I drove back, go a couple hours back to Tehachapi, go to the little gas station. There's a gas station, the Denny's, a restaurant. There's a few little stores there. Kelly drops. I get dropped off on the highway. Kelly goes there. I start walking down the off ramp in the middle of the desert. I mean, we're just outside Death Valley. I'm walking through the desert
in like June.
In June, I'm wandering through the desert. People driving on the highway must have looked out, where in the world did this guy come from? Because I'm walking down the off-ramp onto the freeway. In the middle of nowhere, really. And I thought, I don't know what to do. So Kate comes down the off-ramp, picks me up. I said, I can't find it. Like, she said, no one there had it turned in. I said, I don't know what we're going to do. I said, I'll see what we're going to do. So anyway, we got back to the car. We're driving back. And I thought, well, I guess we'll start heading home. So we thought, well, we'll drive to, we got to Fresno. And it was getting evening time. So I thought, I got to stop for the night. Went to a place in Fresno. And it had a gate around it, which seemed safe. So they opened the gate to let us in. And got inside the gate. You can't see inside the courtyard. Open the gate up, and it was like driving into like a ghetto. There are cars on blocks with no tires, and there's broken down cars on the side. There's people wandering around. Thinking, what in the world have we got? So I drive up to the place where we're supposed to get the hotel room. It's got a door on the building, which is broken. So me and Faith walk in. To this room, find the room, open the door, walk in, and it's got a weird smell, like I can't even describe it. It smelled very, very bad. And then Faith says, I don't know if I want to stay here. I said, I don't know. Then Faith grabbed the pillows, and they weren't pillows. They were just towels rolled up in a pillowcase. I said, oh, come on. Even a pillow. So I said, we're not staying here. I said, we're not staying here. Minus the smell, the towels for pillows, and the stains on the carpet. I mean, it was bad. So we went back out into the main hallway, walked back out. I said, got the vehicle. I said, we're not staying here. We are not staying here. We drove back to the front desk, and we got out, and the front desk says, you want your money back, don't you? And we said, yeah, we do, because we're not staying here. She says, yeah, I thought so. So she just filled the thing out, then handed it back. We drove. I said, well, where do you want to go? So I said, because it was the Motel 6 just up the road. Great. I go to the Motel 6. I pull in the Motel 6 parking lot, and there's like people again, like wandering around. It's like the whole thing is just full of people wandering in and out. I mean, there's a drug deal probably I think going on in the parking lot. There was people walking by who were obviously using. And I thought, well, I don't know. So I went to the front check-in place. I go to open the door, it's locked, and I noticed this use the window. So I go to the window. Well, it's great. It's a grate. You can't. And a little slot at the bottom. I thought. So I said, yeah. She said it'd be this much for a room, and I looked around. I thought, I don't think I can stay here. Yeah. Like you who live here. Won't even have a window. You
won't even have a door.
Your door. I can't even get into the office. So I went back to the vehicle. I said, we're not staying here. We are not staying here. So I left there. Went to a travel lodge. Same situation. I mean, there's people, and I said, that's it. I said, we're done looking at hotels. We're going to the Hilton. That's where we're staying tonight. Went to the Hilton, and at the Hilton, I still didn't have my wallet. So we used Brock's credit card to get us into the Hilton for the night, and then I'm canceling all my credit cards on the phone. And then I'll say a message on Facebook from somebody who lives in Tehachapi saying she found my wallet.
Perfect.
She looked
Praise God.
She looked me up on Facebook. So I talked to her on Facebook, texting her back and forth. She said, I have your wallet. She sent me a picture of it. She said, this is your wallet. I said, that's my wallet.
Sorry to interrupt. Wasn't there somebody on like a Facebook group chat for that thing that recognized your license card, your UPCI minister's license card?
Yeah, she put it on a little Tehachapi Facebook page, like a city Facebook page, and somebody saw it and saw my name and thought, well, I'll look his name up on Facebook, and found me, and saw my picture on there, comparable, and then sent me the picture and said, this is my wallet. That's my wallet. So I found out who it was. Lady got a hold of me and said, yeah, I saw it. I said, where did you find it? She said, I found it on the interstate. I found it on the turnoff, the off ramp. I was walking down. Yeah. And so I said, oh, okay, where are you? She said, I'm in Tehachapi. I said, oh, well, okay. That's 2 or 3 hours back. So we got up in the morning and went to Jack in the Box for breakfast, which I do enjoy Jack in the Box breakfast.
Jack in the Box breakfast is good.
It is good. Yeah, they do have good breakfast. So I wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. Shameless plug. Shout out Jack in the Box. Sponsor us.
Yeah, if they want to sponsor us, you do great breakfast and great coffee. I do like it. Anyways.
For a reasonable price.
Yeah. So anyways, we drive back to Tehachapi. She told me her address. I go back and go to her house, and she got my wallet back. Yeah. And then we got back into Canada, got back here. Had all our passports, everything in our vehicle. Get back to Canada, our vehicle gets broken into, and our passports get stolen. I go at the vehicle one day, everything's gone out of our vehicle, and then it dawned on me. I said to Kelly, we got broken into our vehicle. She said, what got taken? I said, oh, nothing much, sunglasses, that kind of stuff. And I said, our passports were in there. Go to the box. Yeah, our passports were all gone.
I don't see. Okay, so my car got broken into the other day, and someone stole my iPad.
Yeah.
So I went to a pawn shop today to try and say like, hey, has anybody tried to like sell an iPad? And he's like, oh no, nobody's like dumb enough to try and sell an iPad that's locked with iCloud. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I don't even know why people steal that stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what people have use for it. But then I even told him, I said, yeah, like, you know, my family had all their passports stolen from their car. And he's like, now what would somebody do with another person's passport? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. But I got
like, what like it's just it's such a weird thing to lose.
I know. But then I got a phone call the next day from the soup kitchen in town saying, I think I have your passports here. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, some guy walked in with a bag full of stuff and said, I found this in an alley. I dropped it off, so I went through it. I found a whole bunch of passports. I have your whole family's passports here. I said, really? He's, yeah. So I went down to the soup kitchen, and I talked to the manager there, and he says, here you go. I said, yeah, those are my passports. So, yeah. So that was quite an amazing trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last story involves everybody. So this one, you're gonna hear my voice a little bit more because this one really affected me the most. Our family decided that we were going to go on a cruise from Tampa, Florida. We were going to go to a couple stops in Mexico, Belize, Honduras.
Yeah.
And so we make these whole arrangements of everything. We got to fly to Tampa. We got to, just everything, right? And we get to the airport. It's Vancouver, taking the red-eye flight, which turns out to be not so red-eye because it gets delayed. And every 15 minutes, they would make an announcement over the intercom, like, gate, this and that. We still haven't had an update. We'll give you an update in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
For like 4 hours.
Yeah.
For 4 hours, every 15 minutes. And like, something that was cool while we were sitting there is the people sitting next to me and like in the seat across was actually the head coach of the Simon Fraser University men's basketball team.
Yeah.
And like their head scout, and then some like professional basketball agent.
Yeah.
And so talked to them for a little while, but then it got to the point like 3.5 hours we were all supposed to be on the same flight, so 3.5 hours, and they're like, can we just like get them to stop giving the updates? Because clearly
they're not giving you.
Clearly these updates aren't being given. Well, we finally get onto the plane about 4 hours later, which means we're 4 hours. We now missed our connecting flight because we flew from Vancouver to Dallas. We were supposed to fly from Dallas to Tampa. Missed our connecting flight in Dallas. Mm-hmm. So we don't actually know like what we're going to do. And the only answer we're being told is you'll have to talk to them in Dallas.
Yeah.
So we get on the flight. We are at the very back of the plane. Last row. And my brother, he sweats a lot. He just does. It's not anything wrong with anything.
Yeah.
But the flight attendant saw him sweating, and he's, he also just doesn't sit still. And so he's kind of like, tapping his leg, tapping his knee, and he's sweating. And the flight attendant is like, you're not fit to fly. And so he's like, just let me like calm down. I just need some water. And they're like, they take him to the back. They give him some water, give him maybe 45 seconds. Yeah. And then they're like, no, okay, you got to go.
You got to go.
You got to get off the plane. You have to get off the plane. And so everybody on the flight is kind of like trying to turn on the flight attendant, being like, just give him a minute. Like,
yeah,
nobody knows what's going on now. Everybody has missed their connecting flight. Everybody's whole travel plans are all messed up now. And one person's only showing it. And so he gets kicked off the plane. And I guess while he was gone, when he got off the plane, they told him, you can get on the next flight in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
If you're fit to fly. And he was like, forget it, I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, my little brother wasn't able to come on the trip with us. But that was just where the beginning of the problem started, because he leaves and he tells them like, I'm going to need my bag. And so they just bring him a bag.
Yeah.
I get a text. We are in the air. I paid for Wi-Fi because I'm like, I got 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pay for Wi-Fi. First, like, few texts pop up. It's from my little brother, and he's like, hey, so they gave me your bag and they're not shipping it back. They're not sending it down. And so, I mean, I rightfully so freaked out on the plane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so angry. I just spent a ton of money to get all these clothes because I don't like the beach. I don't like hot places. So I don't have any like beach clothes or anything. Excuse me. And so I spent a bunch of money on that just for this trip. And I even said, like, I don't want to spend a ton of money because I know I'm not going to use it after. Yeah. And now my bags are in Vancouver. We get to Dallas and we go to the desk, and there's obviously a lineup full of people that were on our plane trying to figure out what's happening next. And we get to us, and he's like, the guy just says, "Oh, you're not getting that bag back. There's absolutely no way." And I'm like, no, like, you know what? I'm going to say it. American Airlines, if you heard that clearly, American Airlines made the mistake of grabbing the wrong bag.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Delta would never make that problem. And so I'm like, you guys made the mistake. I need my bag. I'm going to be on a cruise tomorrow for like 10 days with no clothes. Yeah. What do you want? What am I going to do? And they're like, I have to figure that out. So that was the extent. And I'm like, I'm livid. I did not handle this situation well. And then we're like, okay, well, we've missed our connecting flight. What's next? And so they put us on some other flight that would have had us fly to Miami that night. We would have had to spend the night in Miami on our own dime and then fly early in the morning from Miami to like Charlotte, and then from Charlotte to Tampa. And we're like, that's not going to work. And so they moved something around. They get us on a flight to Tampa. Well, we got there after midnight, so we had to pay an extra night, or we had to pay a night in the hotel, even though we technically weren't there. So that was awesome. I didn't pay for it, but it's not good for mom and dad. But so then I'm trying to think. There was something else that happened.
No, we waited there for our baggage, and then.
Oh yeah. Okay. No way. So we're walking at this point now. We've landed in Tampa. I've had Chick-fil-A in Dallas, so I'm flying high now. I'm doing good, and I'm now at the point where I can make jokes about it. We're walking to baggage claim, and we're like, let's just order the Uber now, because then we'll just get our bag and we'll walk to our Uber and we'll just get to the hotel. And my dad's like, let's just make sure that we got our bags. Like, we'll do that first, and then we'll just call an Uber then. And I made a joke. I was like, I got my bag. I've got everything. Yeah. I got everything I came down here with. And my dad was kind of like, well, you can't say that. That's just, you know what? I understand you're frustrated, but you don't have to make a big deal out of it. And the big thing was he was saying, it's not a big deal. It became a big deal when nobody's bag showed up in Tampa that night. And I even said to my dad, walking to baggage claim, after he told me it's not a big deal, I said, I hope your bags are gone. Lo and behold, they were gone.
They went to Miami. And we were in Tampa.
And then we ordered DoorDash or something. No, we ordered Uber Eats.
Yeah, Uber Eats.
And the bank was like, that's weird. Uber Eats, you guys usually get DoorDash. Flagged the cards.
Canceled our card.
Yeah.
So
now we're in Tampa.
So I'm in Tampa now. I ordered food. It was about $40 or whatever. And I was like, declined. I'm like, declined? Hold on. We haven't even gone on holidays yet. And so on the cruise, we were.
It worked in Mexico, Honduras, and Belize.
But not in Tampa, though.
Not in Tampa.
And then we and Kelly were kind of freaking out, because we haven't gone on holiday. We haven't left yet.
Yeah.
On holidays, and our card is declined.
We barely landed.
And we called the bank prior to us going and say we're going on holidays.
We're going to be in some weird. We're going to be in some weird countries.
And down Southern America. So she said, "Oh yeah, it's fine. It'll work fine. We'll put a note in your file." And then, yeah. So we had kind of freaking out a little bit there with the money, but we got that sorted out. Well, we got it sorted out when we got back.
Yeah.
because we got back into Tampa, went back to another hotel room for the night, and we were there quite early. And he said, "We'll have the room ready for you, but he said, we'll just take your payment now." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So he takes the card. We go across the street to Denny's, and he calls back to us and he goes, "Yeah, your card was declined." And we're sitting there with our pancakes and everything in front of us. You know. Well, this is this
is going to be an interesting.
This is very interesting, isn't it? So, but we had called the bank prior to us getting to Tampa. We got service on one of the cities we were in down in South America. Got service, called the bank, found out we had money in the account.
Yeah,
more than enough to cover everything. And it wasn't, but for some reason, so we had to go back to the hotel. And he's like, "Well, try again." Well, so we tried again. He says, "Yeah, it's still declined." I'm thinking, what are we gonna do? Like, we're stuck here. Like, what are we gonna do? So we phoned the bank, and the bank said, "Oh yeah, I see you." We said, "We told you we were leaving." They said, "Yeah, we got a note in your file saying you're going on holidays down to Florida and southern United States." And I said, "Yeah, so why is our card canceled?" She says, "Well, you used Uber Eats when you were in Tampa Bay, and you never use Uber Eats. You always use DoorDash. And we thought that was kind of suspicious. So we canceled. So we put a flag on it and canceled it." You knew we were going on holidays, right? we ate at restaurants. Also, we don't have here.
Yeah, You accepted our Cracker Barrel.
yeah, and everything else we ordered, but you didn't accept an
Uber Eats
delivery from some place, and it was just So, but other than that,
it was a really fun trip.
Yeah.
We, like, cruising around Belize, and one thing that I thought was really cool is I got to watch the men's final for March Madness on the big screen in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
Like outside by the pool. That was super cool. I thought that was awesome. And then, like, seeing Belize in the jungle, despite the sunburns we got, the military training that was happening there. Yeah. We're going on this boat down the river in the middle of the jungle. All of a sudden we hear just this yelling and screaming, and it's the military, and they got their guns out, and everybody is like, whoa. And it turns out they were doing some kind of training exercises on the river. We didn't know that.
Nor did the tour guide.
Tour guides didn't know.
Because he turned the boat off.
Yeah. Turned the boat off and, like, put his hands up. And we're like,
two boats came towards us with their guns drawn.
Yeah.
And everyone's had to look at the tour guide, and he's like, "Don't talk.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Just stay seated. Don't get up." And then we found out they were just doing some training. But the thing is,
it was really cool to see.
It was cool to see. But you got to also consider, they were driving in boats, and people were jumping off the back of the boat and then getting to shore. But this was alligator infested water.
Yeah.
There was alligators in the water.
Yeah.
And these people were just jumping in the water like
it was just nothing.
They were just jumping off the back of the boat. And thinking, I don't know if I would jump in there. We saw alligators in the water.
Yeah. We saw dolphins too on the way there.
So dolphins, in the water went to
but yeah, I mean, it was cool. We got to see Honduras and Cozumel, Mexico. Costa Maya was absolutely gorgeous. Probably, like, honestly, probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Just absolutely gorgeous, Costa Maya. And I'm wearing a Costa Maya shirt right now.
Yeah.
But one thing that happened when we got back is we tried to file a claim because I had to get all new clothes. Tried to file a claim with, again, American Airlines. Got to make sure that gets put in there. That because our bag was lost. But American Airlines was like, well, no, your bag wasn't lost because we knew exactly where it was the whole time. It never left Vancouver.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And we're like, okay, I guess.
Huge mix-up.
I guess that's... Oh, the other thing was they didn't put the... like when they check your bags, they put the tags on them, like the barcodes that you scan. Yeah, so the guy there just kind of put the tags on a bag, didn't check whose bag.
Didn't
so
check whose bag it was.
technically, technically your bag was Dad. Your bag was gone, Dad.
Yeah.
But it was my bag, but they gave it to Josh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was
So
a very
when we tried to like announce it in Dallas, they said, "No, Terry, your bag is gone." And we're like, "What?"
yeah.
And they said Zechariah's bag is here, Joshua's bag is here, Faith's bag is here, Brock's bag is here, Terry's bag is in Vancouver. And I'm like, okay, Josh doesn't know what bag is whose then. Yeah. Now I'm like, okay, I'm happy now. Dad's bag's gone, not mine. But yeah, I mean, it was an awesome time. I definitely had a lot of fun. And
although we had to drag Josh's suitcase all around with us.
Oh yeah, that also the tag that you have to put on a cruise ship you have to put a tag on your bag. You drop it off at the cruise ship and then they bring it to your room. Yeah. Josh's tag fell off, so that bag just disappeared.
Yeah, they couldn't find it, so we had to go down to the lower hall, me and Kelly, and we're all these bags were suitcases that were there from who knows why. All these suitcases were just down the hall. They said, you could take a look at the storage. So we went down to the hall and looked at the storage, and we found it at there because that's our bag right there.
Yeah.
But all these other bags from other travelers who, I guess, tags fell off or something.
But the one cool thing that I did get was that BC Lions bag. I found in Mexico, I found a BC Lions Mexican style backpack.
Yeah.
And so I bought that. That was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for the travel stories. Just kind of ended it fairly quickly here. Just kind of with a little bit of rapid fire questions for you, Dad. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit to get to know you. First one, what's your favorite dessert?
Boston cream pie.
Okay, that's a good one. Favorite song?
Oh, gee.
Favorite worship song?
A song, I don't know the name of the song, but it's sung by Brandon Lake.
How does it go? Sing it for us, Dad.
No. Jelly Roll sings it also with him.
Hard Fought Hallelujah.
Hard Fought Hallelujah. Yeah. That's a good song.
I like that song,
that's a really
too.
Good song, yeah.
Yeah, that whole album actually has some really good songs in it. If you haven't listened to that album, it's really good. And then one question that I've thought of over just during today, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of Pentecostal preachers? Because that's something that you and I talk about a lot. We talk about you love listening to preaching, you love talking about preaching, you preach. So who would you put in your Mount Rushmore of Pentecostal preachers? I can think of a couple that I already think you're going to put on there, but just want to hear it from you.
Probably Jerry Jones.
Solid.
Be one of them. Wayne Huntley.
Yeah. Trying to think how many people are on Mount Rushmore. 4?
4, yeah.
So that's 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Bernard.
Yeah.
And I should probably say my pastor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember for his installation service when his pastor was I don't want to embarrass my pastor, but he said, like, Brother Brown was here for pastor's installation.
Yeah.
And pastor was like, my pastor, he's an amazing pastor, amazing preacher, but he's not like, the screaming in your face kind of preacher. Brother Brown, his pastor, kind of is. And so before he had him come up, he's like, I want to invite my pastor, one of my favorite preachers. Not my favorite kind of preacher, but like he's a good preacher. But I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But well, thank you very much, Dad, for being here. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for everyone that joined in and listened. Thank you to Brock for producing this. Thank you to my church, my pastor, for allowing us to use the building and the church's resource to do this.
Yep.
And thank you to everyone who asked me about when the next episode was coming out for the last 6 months. And we finally got one. So we're going to end it there. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Brock. Thank you, Pastor and the Lighthouse Church. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you have a great day.